Hey, welcome back again to another episode of the Painfully Honest Tech podcast. I think today is episode 1.4 of the podcast. That means we've been doing it for roughly a month. And so here I am. My name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL, and I have a channel on YouTube called Painfully Honest Tech. I decided to make this podcast called Painfully Honest Tech Podcast. And if you're listening to me on the audio side of the world, thanks so much for finding me. I'm glad that you found me. Please, subscribe to the thing and all that other stuff, and come back and see me sometime, and maybe some 5-star reviews and all the stuff that people tell you to do so that they can get their podcast out of the gutter and into the stars. That's what I'm trying to do here. So what am I going to do today? Well, first off, some house cleaning. I asked last week for some Q&As to tweet at me at pain, H-O-N, tech, and T-E-C-H, and send me something, hashtag ask PHT. And I didn't get anything. I want to do some answering of things. I want to do some questions. I want to do some answers. So once again, if you're on the Twitter, you can go hashtag ask PHT, send that to at pain, H-O-N-T-E-C-H, and that will get you in contact with me. If you're on YouTube watching this, then you can just go ahead and leave a comment down in the description below and let me know what question you would like to have answered, and I will answer it for you in the next episode of the show. But I can't do it if nobody sends me any questions. So send me some questions, or don't. I mean, whatever. Who cares, right? So anyway, here's what we do on the show most of the time. We have some news stories that have come out in the past several days, and I run through them and I talk about them, and we have fun, and then I'm done. Okay, so first story that I want to talk about today is the Google Pixel 3 release date and key features have been revealed. From Tom's Guide, this is the story. So it looks like the 3XL will have an edge-to-edge design, slightly bigger bezel on the bottom. They're keeping the front-facing speakers, which is a nice feature that I really like about the Pixel 2 XL. And then there's also going to be a notch. A notch. I was hoping that there wouldn't be. I thought Google had a shot. Google had an opening to go full on screen and just beat Apple to the punch, but they aren't going to. Now, just as a side note, there is a Lenovo phone coming out on June 5th that's all screen. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anybody who has ever purchased a Lenovo phone. If you have purchased a Lenovo phone, let me know down in the comments and tell me what it's like, because I don't know anything about them. So, but yeah, so the Pixel 3 is going to have a little bit of a different design that isn't going to be like an edge to edge. It's not going to have a notch. Instead, it's just going to be kind of the same as the Pixel 2. Now, Google has also, since the Pixel 2 XL, or maybe around the same time, since the Pixel 2 and 2 XL, they purchased HTC. And it looks like rumors are saying that HTC is going to be the sole in-house manufacturer of these phones for Google. And that could be good or bad. We'll get to why a little bit later in these news stories. Now, I mean, looking at the pictures of some renderings that I was able to find on Gizmodo, it doesn't look that bad to me. I mean, the notch is more narrow, but a little bit deeper than the iPhone, I guess. The notch is not a perfect thing. The notch is one of those things where you want edge to edge, but yet you don't have any way to have a front-facing camera or any kind of sensors or anything like that. And you can't put it behind the screen yet, so you get a notch. And you can't put a speaker inside the screen either. So that's one thing that I'm curious about. Everybody railing on the notch and saying like, "Oh, I got to get rid of the notch." Where are you going to put the earpiece so that you can listen to people when you're talking to them on the phone? if you just have all screen. I mean, maybe this will be something that gets worked out. I don't know. I haven't seen it happen yet, so I'm anxious to see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, they look like nice phones, and Android P is really sweet. I've been using it, the beta on my Pixel 2 XL, and really enjoying it. I think it has a lot of potential. I think Google has a lot of potential to close some distance between themselves and Samsung when it comes to how shall I say, the wars of the smartphone. But if they go conservative on the design, if it's not really if it has problems with the screen as the Pixel 2 XL did, they need to deliver a solid phone with no hardware complaints that really showcases what Android P can do and what Google Assistant can do. If they do that, and Siri stays as stupid as it is, and Samsung keeps, crawling up their own rear ends trying to find new features that nobody wants, Google has a shot at grabbing some of that market share. Of course, they are still exclusive to Verizon, which, I don't know, maybe that's a thing that they worked out beforehand, that they're going to be exclusive to Verizon for X number of years. I am not aware of any such agreement, but Verizon's a big carrier. Maybe Google can get some market share, but to this point, their market share has been very tiny market share. It's nothing more than a niche phone right now, and it's mostly for people who are smartphone aficionados, and cork sniffers of that kind. So Google needs to step up their game, and I don't know if what I'm seeing here with these early renders isn't doing exactly that, but we'll have to see. So another story that came out, this one just came out a little while ago, is that OnePlus 6, its face recognition software can be fooled by like a photocopy of your face. Also, black and white photos will fool the OnePlus 6 facial recognition software. That seems, well, I mean, I'm not a spy. You're not a spy. It seems like this would matter maybe only to spies and or people who are having infidelities, that their significant other doesn't, that they don't want their significant other to know about, or something like that. But for the average person, I mean, yeah, whatever. It's face recognition. OnePlus did release a statement in which they said that the face recognition features are there to offer a convenience and not so much security. So the face recognition is a convenience. It is the fastest face recognition that you can find on any phone anywhere. So that's something, but it's more for a convenience factor than for security. And OnePlus recommends that you also use other security measures in order to keep your phone secure. So there's that. But if anybody out there has the OnePlus 6 and wants to try taking a photocopy of their face or something like that and trying to open the phone and see if it works, I'd love to know about it. You could tell me about it in many different ways. I think I already mentioned what they were earlier in the episode. So OnePlus 6, little bit of a kerfluffle here. And we'll just see what legs that story has. Another story it comes out of sort of a weird place is that Boy Genius Report put up a story that said next year's iPhone could steal a feature from this year's most surprising Android phone. The Huawei P20 Plus is what I think, or Pro is what I think they're talking about. And so it's talking about how the iPhone, whatever it's called next, could have triple camera lenses. And I don't really know if this is stealing a feature. I mean, Huawei can't even sell phones in the United States. So it's sort of one of those things where Huawei happened to get there first. I mean, when Motorola took the headphone jack off of their Moto Z Force whatever phone right before the iPhone 10 came out. Did the iPhone 10 steal that feature from them? No, it didn't. It was courageous on Apple's part to take away the headphone jack, no matter who had done it before. Everybody knew that Apple was going to do it because they have those kind of cojones. And so I just see stories like this and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, so if Apple has 3 lenses on their camera, they're stealing from Huawei. I don't know. It's ridiculous. So, and I've heard that the Huawei P20 Pro the camera is not that great either. So there's that. Anyway, I just get frustrated with news sources that try and write these sensational headlines, and I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. Next story we have here is from the world of HTC. HTC, which used to be one of the companies that really did an awesome job with audio. They had those boom sound front-facing speakers on their HTC One, M8s and M9s and all those things. And those speakers were awesome. And many people still mourn their passing. But HTC in recent years has been going in a different direction, a decidedly downhill direction, but a direction nonetheless. They no longer have a presence in any U.S. carrier that I've seen. Maybe they still have a presence in stores in other carriers across the world, but I don't know. Last year they released the HTC U11 and U11 Plus, and those were really interesting looking sort of translucent phones, and people seem to like them. Again, I never saw one in person. This year, HTC with their U12 Plus isn't even gonna include a USB-C dongle to plug in regular headphones. Now, this to me seems like a first, and a bad first at that, because usually dongles stink, but at least they allow you to plug in your headphones. And the world is not ready for 100% wireless. Wireless headphones are a pain in the ass 9 times out of 10. I really have gotten to the point where I kind of hate wireless headphones, but they're convenient as long as they work in certain situations. But I dislike them passionately. So anyway, the HTC 12 Plus is not going to have it. Now, all is not lost here. They are going to include USB-C headphones in the box, and I bet those will sound awesome. And they're selling $12 adapters on their web store, but it says here that currently they are sold out. Audio matters to me, and I think a lot of other people. So this is really sort of disappointing on HTC's part. What do you think about it? I don't know. Most people don't seem to care. They just take what's given. They take what they're given. They take what they're given, and they're just going to have to like it. And nobody gives a crap about anything that, might be special in the world. All right. Bitter moment over. Next story. YouTube stars fury over algorithm tests. So if you are outside of the YouTube loop, then you probably are unaware of the fact that YouTube has really made a habit, maybe a hobby even, out of taking features that have worked well on YouTube for a long time and then deciding to screw with them and change them without provocation, to the detriment of the usability for the creators and for the audience. And so they've decided now to attack the final place where creators and their subscribers had a place to sort of exist together. Subscribers could have some control over what they had in there. The subscriber feed, or the subscriber box, as it's called sometimes, YouTube has decided that they're gonna apply the algorithm to sort of push things that the algorithm thinks you want to see more up in your sub feed, higher than anything else. I mean, up until this point, it's been alphabetical, and you could just scroll down all the alphabetical, and you could check out what people are doing, and so you have your list of people down the line, and then in the main page you have everything that's come in recent days. So YouTube decided that it was going to test this out, and they kind of got caught out by it. And somebody said, hey, why is my sub feed not in alphabetical order anymore, or chronological order? And YouTube was like, oh yeah, we're trying this thing. This is no big deal, no big deal. But every time YouTube does anything like this, they pilot it amongst a certain number of whatever, and then they eventually roll it out everywhere, even though everybody has said, no, stop doing that. That's ridiculous. We don't want you to do that. Please don't do that. Stop doing that, please. YouTube doesn't care. YouTube doesn't care. And so some of the biggest YouTube stars, I use air quotes there for those of you who are out there in podcast land, some of the biggest stars have come out just sort of angry about this. The biggest among them would be probably Marquez Brownlee, better known as MKBHD, he had a big Twitter bout going on where he tweeted about it, and it was long and drawn out. So basically his whole hypothesis was that people decide what they want to see. They hit the subscribe button. If they go to the subscriber feed and they see something that they don't feel like they want to see anymore, they unsubscribe. And that is how the population of the subscriber box is dealt with. YouTube doesn't need to fool with it at all. And hopefully they won't. I don't know. This is just sort of one of those things where I'm reporting it because it happened, and I hope, beyond all hope, that YouTube will stop these shenanigans and just allow people to subscribe to people and unsubscribe to people and watch what they want to watch out of that feed without YouTube's quote unquote help. So now we're making our way to our last story, which comes courtesy of Cult of Mac, but I thought it was very interesting, kind of heartwarming, but also really fucking scary. So the headline here is, Find My iPhone Helps Save Kidnapped Bride from Forced Marriage. Okay, now that headline is a little bit misleading because the young lady was kidnapped. She didn't, in fact, though, know that she was meant to be a bride. Basically, her family said, hey, come on vacation with us to Bangladesh and hang out, and it'll be awesome. When really they wanted her to marry her cousin, and they threatened her with death if she didn't do it. And she, being the modern woman that she is, had her iPhone. She texted her boyfriend back in the UK, said, my parents are trying to force me to marry this guy. I'm in trouble, blah, blah, blah. And I guess the Indian authorities were called, and the whole thing was broken up by, I guess it's illegal to do this in India. It's illegal to force somebody to marry someone that they don't want to marry, which is nice. I guess that's very good. I'm not a great aficionado of Indian culture, but I think not marrying people you don't want to marry because your family says so is good. So she used Find My iPhone so that her boyfriend and then the Indian authorities could track her location, find her, and save her from this not only forced but also incestuous marriage situation. So I thought that was a little bit of a heartwarming but also very disturbing kind of way to round out the show today, which is what we're going to do right now. We're going to round out the show and say, that's it. I'm done, because I don't have any more stories to talk about. Anyway, again, if you found me through podcast land, thank you so much for being here. If you're watching me on YouTube, and you want to get it on podcast land, this will end up on iTunes and all the other places in the next day or so as I bounce it down and chop it up and send it off to the wonderful people over at Front Page Tech, who are my podcast network. So if you're fans of them, you know who I'm talking about. And so look for it in a day or so. Otherwise, it's going to be up on YouTube. If you're watching it, it's up on YouTube right now. And yeah, thanks very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Again, my name is Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech, the podcast. Tech so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.